Everyone. Glad you were able to join us. So I have Ms. Johnson here from the State Park Service to talk about an awesome opportunity available to 8th grade students and up. So today she's going to talk about an opportunity specific just to you all. And then she's going to be back tomorrow, but we'll record it so you guys can see it when you're back here on Thursday, talking about the careers available in the state parks and just how there's a lot more careers available than you might think of. So there's way more than just like a park ranger. So today she's going to be talking about Youth Conservation Corps, which is something that's really near and dear to my heart. It's something my brother did, and it totally changed his life. He loved it. It led him down such a unique career path, made so many connections. So it's something that my family absolutely loves, and hopefully some of you might become interested in and get to enjoy. So I'm going to get ready to turn it over to her.
And the great thing is about a lot of the things that you guys mentioned, especially hiking and biking and picnics, basketball and volleyball. If you like to spend time at beaches and things like that, you can find all those things in Virginia State Parks. And so today I am here to talk to you guys about the Youth Conservation Corps, which is an opportunity for youth to spend 3 weeks in state parks where they live and work alongside their peers and, get to spend a lot of time in state parks doing conservation work. Do you guys know what conservation work kind of includes or what that looks like? If you have any ideas about what conservation is or what that work might look like, drop that in the chat. Yeah.
Cleaning up nature.
Perfect. That's a good one, Kayla. Does anybody else want to try a shot? Taking care, conserving the beauty of nature, protecting nature. Right. So all these things basically engulf what it means to conserve nature. And so in state parks, that includes, picking up trash, that includes rebuilding trails, that includes, making sure there are picnic areas for people to, safely picnic and, with their families, and making sure that areas that need mulch, like playgrounds, are safe for children. It also means planting plants along our riverways. So a whole host of things when it comes to state parks, because our job at state parks is to maintain and take care of the entire park. So we're going to start up today. I'm going to play this video for you guys. And Ms. Highland, if
is that working now, guys?
Youth Conservation Corps is a youth program that places youth 14 to 17 in Virginia state parks across the state and allows them to work and live in the park for 3 weeks and earn a stipend. So it's not your typical summer camp. Some of the projects they complete would be general trail maintenance, a new trail creation, campsite construction, and many other things. They differ based on the park and what each park needs.
I've been working with the YCC program since about 2004, and each year it's something new and rewarding for myself, but they come in not knowing what to expect and they leave a completely different person, learning leadership skills, learning work ethic, dedication, and how to cope with problems that may come up throughout the program. So it's rewarding for my staff, it's rewarding for the crew members, and of course the park gets a lot of great work done that we normally wouldn't get done since we don't have manpower often to do these jobs.
It's been one of the best experiences in my life so far. I think it's probably the closest experience to college you can have while in high school. And I feel like that helps you to grow up and to learn how to relate to people and how to be dedicated to something and follow through with what you're doing. When you come in the beginning, you're kind of like, oh, I'm sweaty and dirty and tired. But by the end, you're like, I built, these benches or this trail, and I made a contribution to like the state. Your perspective broadens, and I feel like you become a better person.
At Virginia State Parks, we are super excited and very proud of our YCC program. Our Youth Conservation Corps has been awarded the Governor's Award for Best Volunteer Program for Youth. We've also been awarded the Take Pride in America Award for Best National Youth Program. And just recently, we were named one of the top 3 summer activities for youth by Parenting Magazine. YCC is a fantastic program. I used to go out and represent this and talk to parents about the YCC program. And I would tell them how their son or daughter could participate. and spend 3 weeks in one of our state parks working on meaningful service projects. The parents would think this was a great program. They were very excited for an opportunity for their youth. But they would ask me, "That's great, but how much does it cost?" And I would tell them, "We pay you." So not only are they working in the park, getting in touch with nature, and building leadership skills, at the end they take home a stipend that they can use to help with their school clothes or other family expenses. This is a great program, and I can't say enough about it.
So you should have screen share permissions back now, Ms. Johnson.
Well, awesome. Well, that explains a lot about the program, and does a way better job than the boring slides that I can present. But I'm going to touch a little bit about some of the main points that after that. Oh, I don't want to play the video. Okay. There we go. So if you guys have any questions about the video that you just seen, you can feel free to drop those in the chat box, and we'll answer those kind of as we get to them and throughout the presentation. So the mission statement for our state parks, you guys can all read, but it's to engage Virginia's youth in a structured program of important conservation and park projects on public lands while providing learning that fosters teamwork, self-esteem, social responsibility, respect for the environment. So that's basically just like a way to summarize everything that you guys just watched. There's tons of fun that happens in the program, but overall, again, you're there to make a difference in your Virginia state parks. So why the Youth Conservation Corps? Obviously, again, you get to give back to make a difference in the world, providing stewardship to our public lands. You get to say, 10 years from now, hey, I came to this park and this, I had opportunity to build this. We offer volunteer hours each summer. Youth that participate in the YCC program earn 120 volunteer hours. So if you have volunteer requirements for your school or for scholarships or for Rotary clubs and things like that, oftentimes I write recommendations for students to use those volunteer hours. And you get to work on a team with your fellow peers and to really, to get a job done and accomplish something, really hard. I'm a little bit biased because I really enjoy the Youth Conservation Corps and hanging out with our youth each summer. So it is the best experience, I say, of our youth's lives. One, you get to be on your own. That's, super fun. You get to take a lot of responsibility for yourself. So if you're, really longing for some, individuality and some, opportunity to prove yourself, the YCC, offers that opportunity for you to get out and pull your own weight. You have lifelong friendships. I've been doing the program for over 5 years. And as Ms. Highland mentioned, her brother did the program. And there are people who keep in touch with the friends that they make throughout the program for, for years to come. They really do, keep in touch with each other and become each other's like lifelong friends. I have youth tell me that, the friendships that they form with the, 3 weeks that they spend in YCC are, deeper than the friendships that they even have at school, because another piece of the core is that you don't have any electronics. That is a piece of, of our course. So, they spend a lot of time talking to each other and playing games with each other and really getting to know each other on a different level than you do kind of at school. And not to mention, you do all this hard work and you make all these friends and have so much fun. And then we pay you at the end of the opportunity. So, if you successfully graduate from the program, you receive a $500 stipend at your graduation that goes, that you can do whatever you want with. Usually people use it for back to school and things like that. But honestly, I've heard some really crazy things that kids are going to use their money for. So who can apply? So anyone with a positive attitude, if you're willing to follow directions and, and safety regulations, and that includes, not trying to kill anyone with your tools and things like that. If you can be respectful to your other members and your leaders, we want you to apply. And you do have to be 14 by June 1st of whatever program year you're applying to. But you can apply all the way up until you become 17. So we have a lot of students who do the program for 3 or 4 years. They just come back, from year to year.
And then my brother used it. His connections allowed him to keep working with the state parks during the summers in college. So he was able to take this experience and it launched him into his summer jobs for college too.
Right. So in addition to just being a member for the Youth Conservation Corps, we also have an internship program. So oftentimes we'll have members who have decided, YCC gave a lot to me and I would like to give back. And so once you age out of the program, we don't just kick you out. We have an internship program that basically prepares you to become a crew leader for the program. So you spend a year kind of transitioning from being a crew member to a crew leader as an intern. And then you can even come back to become a crew leader, in the future. And if you say you decide that YCC isn't the program for you, you don't want to do that anymore. You can, as Ms. Highland says, use us as a reference and use like the parks that you worked as references for other jobs and things that you might want to go on to do, whether that's like be a lifeguard or you might have a park that you might want to work at the concession stand one summer or be on maintenance or even become a park ranger. You can use any references and things, the resume builders that you learn in YCC to take you forward, as well as college too. In addition to needing references and the volunteer hours that you kind of need to, to pad your resume. I don't know if you guys are talking about that stuff yet, but YCC is a good recommendation. We have been able to recommend people for anything that they wanted to do in the future. And we talked about a little bit about what potential projects look like in the park. Here is a couple of examples. You guys show you some pictures of, and some girls building a fence, some picnic tables. You're just about guaranteed to build some picnic tables at all the parks, fencing and trails and things like that, beautification projects. Again, things that you can come back and see from years to come. That fence and those tables will be there 10, 15 years from now. So they do get a little messy sometimes. So the guys on the right there are building a fishing ramp. A lot of our park, again, they differ depending on the work that they do at different parks. So they're cleaning up debris. If there's, rivers or a lake at your park, you might do some cleanup along the lake. You might build some fish habitats or do some wetland preservation. It really varies at the parks what you can be doing. So you learn a lot of stuff. So if you don't know how to build things, which a lot of people don't, you learn how to use all the power tools safely, and how to build decks and things that you might want to use in building your house in the future or things like that. They do, flower gardens and native flower beds at a lot of the park, butterfly gardens and things like that. And they also make amendments to the bunkhouses that they live in. A lot of the parks will have them each crew leave their mark on their park. So they're at York River, each year they have the crew there add on something new to the YCC bunkhouse. So one year they added a fire pit, and the next year they redid the sidewalk, and all the everyone put their hands into the sidewalk, and things like that. So there's some fun things like that, again, that you can leave your mark on state parks. To go over a typical day. So you got to YCC, you're interested. What does a typical day look like for a YCC? If you're, this year is a little bit different. This year we will be doing residential, as everything else looks a little bit different this year. But typically you would arrive into the park around 8 or 9 o'clock. If you were living in the park, you would wake up around 6:30. So I think that's a little bit of a good exchange. So the warm up and things like that will look the same. And the daily warm up is just to get the muscles moving so that when you're working out on a trail, using, those tools and things, and no one gets hurt.
My brother came back much more muscular from
Yeah,
his daily warm up and work.
that's funny. Last year we had some kids that were preparing for football training when they were going back to school, and so they did, they worked during the day, and then they would like lift benches and like the during the afternoons to get their their weightlifting training in and things like that. So, fun things like that. So you work about 8 hours a day. Because this year is residential, you will work 5 days a week. So Monday through Friday, basically 8 to 5. And that will vary from park to park and depending on your project. And depending on what you guys plan for the afternoons. As you can see, there's like an educational game. This year, we will be incorporating some of our fun activities into the afternoons and on Fridays. The time period just kind of varies. You might have like a hike or a kayak or something planned for the afternoon after your work day. So again, it kind of varies based on the park.
And guys, our park, so because this year it is going to be more of a commuter program, they're not, because of COVID, they can't have you stay overnight. It's really unique because one of our closest ones is in Woodstock. It just opened. It's the Seven Bend State Park. So when she's talking about like leaving your mark and starting traditions, Seven Bends, that one has just opened. So you would be one of the first groups in that park.
Right. And that's, again, everything there would be brand new. So the trails and everything. So please, hope you guys can want to apply after this. So every day you guys are issued gear. I don't know if you can notice like how the young ladies are dressed. And the young men have been dressed throughout the presentation, but you guys are issued like a uniform. You have to wear pants on the work site every day, and it's only for your own protection. It sounds kind of, sometimes, some students don't understand why you have to wear jeans on the work site, but there's things flying around, there's bugs and ticks and things like that. And it's honestly for your own protection. So you have to wear jeans and boots on the work site, and you're issued like a work shirt. So it's just like any other job. And you guys are issued backpacks and gear, gloves and goggles and things that you have to be responsible for on your work site, on a day-to-day basis. This was supposed to change. Okay, so weekends, there will be opportunities at your parks on the weekends. They won't be mandated as part of like a program, but the park does do weekend activities. So those things will be available. And I'm just showing you guys now so that, this year is non-residential, but our goal is that we will go back to a residential program in the future after everything is settled. And so this is just a picture of what some of the bunkhouses look like, where you live with 10 other, your 10 other crew members and your leaders. And that looks different depending on what park you're at. But you guys are all under the same roof where you cook and house and hang out together. All right. That was a mouthful. But are there any questions about the program so far? We're kind of,
So guys, I'm going to put a link in. This should be the correct one for the application. And the application deadline has been extended. So don't panic if you see somewhere that they were already due. We did not present this to you to then say, but sorry, they closed. So when is the application now due, Ms. Johnson?
Yes, ma'am. So the application is due April 15th. That is the new application date. And as Ms. Holland says, she has that link to there. And if you want to drop your email address in the chat box as well, I could take those as well. If you have any questions, we do some live Q&As, and also I'd be willing to come back if you have any questions. The application process, I can talk about that a little bit now as well. It's a pretty simple process. She is dropping the PDF form. You do have to complete a electronic version, but my advice is to do the paper version first, so you have all your answers and everything right in front of you, and that you just have to type it in and submit the application when it's due. So there's two parts to the application. So you submit your part, and then once you submit your part, your teachers, or you submit your references. There's 2 references that are required, but they get them electronically. So use nothing you need to do with your references except for put the correct email address in. And if at any point you think that the email address that you submit for your references or is incorrect, or your reference has not responded, I can change those. And so that is the complete application process. Once you submit your application and both of the references are submitted, then your application is complete. We will be making decisions about, where the placements will be and things like that, about 2 weeks after April 15th. And if you have any other questions about the application or where it goes, either myself or Ms. Highland, you could feel free to get in contact with either of us, and I can answer those questions for you.
So one thing to keep in mind is that you probably will not be able to email her directly and her respond to you because of the blocks. So you should either reach out to me or have your parents email from their accounts with any questions that you would like to ask. I put over in the side the website, the one that says general info. You can click there to see, again, some overview of information, and then the link for the application is also there. Another thing to keep in mind, if you plan to apply for governor's school next year, so you'll apply, or no, your sophomore year, it is very handy. This is the perfect kind of thing to have on your application for something like Massanutten Governor's School.
And yeah, right. And even if once you get into governor's school, I know that they have volunteer requirements and things like that. So then it's a great continuation. I also dropped my email address into the chat. If you